All right, everyone. So the 2015 fantasy football season is officially in the bag. We all watched Nate finish off DJ to win his first ever fantasy football championship. Now, if he can only figure out how to use PayPal, then I could actually give him his winnings. But seriously, though, big ups to Nate for not only winning the championship, but also stating before the season even started that he only saw himself losing at most 2 regular season games, which is a pretty ballsy claim. I think he was the only person actually to hit the free agent acquisition limit as well, which prevented him from finishing the season with a starting tight end, so he had to ride Scott Chandler into the playoffs, but still pulled it off. But he knew that all he needed was clear eyes, a full heart, and Danny Woodhead, who delivered as always. I want to also give some recognition to DJ for putting together a somewhat ragtag draft and creating an actual championship caliber team. As I stated in the draft analysis, DJ, I thought your team was without a doubt the toughest to judge, and you still turned it into a great year, so nice job. It was a very exciting season, I thought at least, and I hope you guys did as well. And as a result, I have some postseason awards that I wanted to give out to people. So first off, going all the way back to the draft, we have our Steal of the Draft award, which I'm going to give to Rick Black for drafting Sir Thomas the Goat Brady for a whopping $1. Brady happened to be the number 2 overall fantasy quarterback with 331 points, and the only overall players to finish above Brady in points were Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and Cam Newton, who all went for an average of $35 in the draft. So, big ups to Rick. Good job there. But too bad he shit the bed in the playoffs and wasn't able to move on, scoring, 100 points in the playoffs out of 2 weeks. But at least he finished better than his 1-win season from last year. So, good job, Rick. Secondly, the Free Agent Acquisition of the Year award, which actually goes to Gabe for picking up Devontae Freeman and dropping Reggie Wayne on September 10th before Week 1 even began. Freeman, as you guys know, went on to be the number 1 ranked running back in the league with 289 fantasy points. As they say, seasons are won and lost on the waiver wire, and in this case, they were wrong because Gabe still came in 8th place. But good signing anyways, Gabe. Speaking of Gabe, my personal favorite award of this year is what I'm calling the Lucky Bounce Award, which actually goes to Nate in a matchup against Gabe. Nate and Gabe were locked up in a pretty tight battle back in Week 5, and the only reason Nate won was because Devontae Freeman, who was on Gabe's team, was walking in for a touchdown when the ball was punched loose at the goal line, and Julio fell on it to score a touchdown instead of Freeman. So that ended up being a 12-point swing, which helped Nate seal the victory, only beating Gabe by 8 points. So that was a pretty fun one there. The Offensive Juggernaut Award is going to go to Nate with 1,346 points for, edging out Franklin with 1,274. But since Nate won the championship, I'm not spending too much time on that one. The Most Unlucky Award goes to Ed for having the most points scored against him with 1,254. This has to end the era of Savoying, wherein Ed would shut down his opponents with some voodoo magic in years past. But no more, Edward, sorry. Honorable mention for this award has to go to Whitney with 1,219 points against. Whitney and Ed were supremely unlucky this year, so y'all should work on that defense in the offseason. The Trade of the Year award goes to Nate and Whitney. In a series of poor choices at running back, Nate trades away Thomas Rawls to Whitney for Andre Never Sees the Field Ellington. Rawls, as you guys know, went on to be one of the highest scoring running backs in the league for a few weeks before landing on IR, and Ellington only scored 4.4 points per game on average all season. So kind of a shitty trade there for you, Nate. The Benching of the Year award has to go to Derek, aka D-Money, for playing James Jones over Doug Baldwin in the second week of a pretty tight playoff matchup with DJ in the first round. Derek and DJ Derek was down 8 points going into week 2 of the matchup when Derek subbed out Baldwin and subbed in James Jones. The result was James Jones put out 0 points that week, and Baldwin scored his highest of the season, 3 touchdowns in a 38-point outing. So 38 points on one player swing. What was the result of the playoff matchup? Derek lost by 27 points total and gets booted from the playoffs. Finally, the Why Bother award has to go to myself. Not only did I average only 96 points per game, where the rest of the league averaged 113 points per game, but really my only 2 victories were flukes. They came in 81-point and 77-point performances. I literally only won because I scored the second fewest points in each week, and my opponent happened to have scored the least amount of points. So, whoa. But at least Rick still owns the fewest wins in a fantasy football season award with 1. That title may never be matched. Good job, Rick. But anyways, I had a really good time this season. I hope you guys did as well. Let's do it again next year. Take care, guys.